to that point, like I will put this out there because I very much lean into the concept of, as business owners, what do we primarily focus on improving on ourselves? It's business, whether it's sales, marketing, operations, scaling, all these things. Like, how many books of the people that are listening to this are related to relationship improvement? Right? What do we just come out of the womb just saying, hey, we're really good at relationships? How many of us have actually said, how do I become a better partner, whether it's husband, wife, or otherwise?
You know what? This is like, I just have to say this point before you ask your question. You know how like in business, people think like marketing and sales solves all problems? But I feel like on this side of it, it's like, well, fixing my business will make my relationship better.
Money makes,
it's like,
it doesn't change anything. It makes things more challenging if you don't ask the questions like, is my relationship actually getting better? Because it is that infinite game. And like, we don't ask our partner, do you feel loved? Do you feel supported? Do you feel appreciated? We just grind. And we hope for things to be better. They don't. So if you've got any problems in your life, and because there's 3 areas, right? There's health, wealth, relationships, and they're all completely intricately connected. So you cannot have an amazing, wealthy lifestyle and then get terminal cancer and be happy, right? Like Steve Jobs. You can have an amazing business that spews out cash and you're loaded and you have time freedom. But if you're mentally burnt out and you don't enjoy your life and you don't have purpose, then what's the point of any of it, right? And you can have a healthy body and a business spewing out cash, but if your wife cheats on you or leaves, then what's the point of it? So like, yes, wealth is important and wealth is freedom. Like money is just paper energy. It just or plastic energy. It just gives you opportunities to do what you want to do, when you want to do it, with who you want to do it with, which is extremely important. Like if you're unwell and you need a hospital, like a private hospital for your children, you got to have money, right? But how can you have that while also being full of energy, waking up happy, enjoying life, and being able to sit with your family and be present? Like, how can you have it all? That's the question.
My question to both of you, have you ever had a partner tell you that you're unemotional?
Of course.
I'm over-emotional.
You're over. This is the interesting thing. And before we continue, I'm thoroughly curious about this sign, right? So a lot of things become water off a duck's back for me, right? Like I typically refer to myself as a human shield. Like I'll just go in and whether it's an employee challenge, a client challenge, just a challenge in general, I will jump on the hand grenade and solve it. And so for me, when I come home to go and see my lovely wife, Hazel, it's like almost like one of the signs for me is like she will say, hey, like this is a challenge, this is a problem and all those kind of things. And I'm like, you're just another one. Add it to the stack. No worries at all. Like I need to be this masculine guy. And so I think for myself, really for people listening, like that can be a big sign unto itself, which is like almost ignoring to the point of it needs to be a water off a duck's back because that's what we're conditioned for when we're listening, like when we're at work, when we're doing all these fun things. Now, I am curious for yourself, Toni, like imagine someone's listening to this and they're relating to everything that we're talking about. Like, how can they start getting back on track? Like, it might not be intuitive for us. Like, what is the first step and then the second and the third?
Well, the first step is just getting clarity, right? If you have a blind spot, the only way to see it is to turn your head, which is not that difficult to do. It's the simple motion of the neck moving. So it's as simple as just asking yourself, cool, I'm chasing success, I'm making money, I'm growing my portfolio. Great. Awesome. I already know that that's clear. I have clarity on that. What about my health and my relationships? We actually have an assessment called the Key 3 assessment, and you rate yourself in each area. You rate yourself in your health, you get a number, you rate yourself in your wealth, and then in your relationships, and then you'll typically see whether there's an imbalance or not. So if you imagine your life like a wheel, just imagine there's more than 3 parts. If that wheel is circular, it rolls very smoothly. Whereas if one part's sort of indented because it's not good enough, the other part's really, really successful, like the business, the relationship's falling apart, that wheel's going to roll in a very, very weird motion. So just simply getting clarity, like, am I happy mentally? Am I healthy physically? What's the quality of my relationship? And not just going surface level. Oh yeah, things are fine. She'll be right, mate. That's the typical attitude. Going, no, you know what? Really? Why don't I ask my wife? Hey, I work really hard for us. Do you feel loved? Do you feel appreciated? Do you feel supported? Do you feel understood? She will either say yes, I don't know. Am I allowed to say the F word? Or shit no. Or fuck no, right? Good. I've been holding it in this entire time. But it's just simply asking these questions of others and of yourself. Because look, we make assumptions, right? We make assumptions that making the money is enough. We make assumptions that having the house and the car is enough. But just like with Hazel and our partners, it's like we don't ask them these things, you know, and it's just looking at what you used to do compared to now. When you have kids, this changes a lot. When you start working more and growing your team, this changes a lot. At the beginning, you spent so much time with your partner. You looked into each other's eyes. You wanted to know about them. But then things get busier and that starts to disappear, right? So I think the answer in a nutshell is just getting clarity on where you are now in your health, wealth, and relationships. Just sit with yourself for 10 minutes after this podcast and go, cool, my business is here. I already know that. Well, where am I in these other areas? And am I okay with that? And the best way to change any part of your life, if you do realize there's a deficiency, is to establish the cost, right? So let's use a relationship as an example. If you know there's a rift in your relationship, everyone's got it. Arguments, not connecting, not enough sex, not enough intimacy, right? If that rift is like in those movies where there's an earthquake that splits apart the earth, you know those movies I'm talking about, right? If that rift is tiny, you can jump over it. There is going to be a point for all of us, if that rift gets too wide, where we can no longer make that leap. And when that happens, a divorce occurs. Now in business, if we see a rift or a deficiency, we go and fix that shit right away. But when it comes to our relationships or health, we sort of let that rift get a bit bigger, let it get a bit bigger, and we go, yeah, I can leap that thing. And then one day, it's too far gone, you can't leap it. So a really powerful question to ask yourself, if you do want to improve every area of your life, which you'd assume you do, why would you want wealth if you're going to lose it all? Is to ask yourself, what's the cost of operating the way that I've been operating? If I keep growing my business the way I have and working on my wealth and my finances, while neglecting these other areas, what will happen to my marriage? What will happen to my children? What will happen to my net worth if I don't change? And sometimes that answer is very terrifying.
Hey, fellow business owner, if this topic and value-packed short video has resonated with you at all, and you want to dive deeper into being a full stack business owner, check out the full episode by clicking the link on your screen or in the description right now.